You're sitting in an interview chair, the pressure is on. Your interviewer leans forward and says, "Design a document Q&A system for 1 million users." We have 10,000 internal documents. Employees need answers based only on these documents, not general training data. Look to the left side of your screen. Your first instinct might be to call the LLM API and pass those documents in. Stop right there. That approach hits a wall immediately because 10,000 documents will always exceed any context window. It's an instant fail. Think of it like walking into a massive library. If you ask a librarian a question, they don't hand you the entire building, they hand you the 3 most relevant books already open to the right page. That's the core challenge here. The interviewer isn't testing whether you can call an API, every engineer in the room can do that. They're testing whether you know how to handle data that's simply too big to fit. They want to know how you'll get the right 3 paragraphs in front of the LLM before it ever starts to generate an answer. Follow the path toward the center of the screen. You need to shift your focus from sending everything to finding the right pieces. This is where the RAG architecture comes in, which you can see mapped out on the right side of the diagram. It splits the problem into 2 distinct pipelines, one for preparing your documents and one for handling the user's specific question. But exactly how do you build a system that knows which 3 paragraphs matter out of 10,000? That's where the real engineering starts. Look at the 5 constraints shown here. These are what make RAG system design a completely different discipline from the classic systems you're used to. First, non-determinism isn't a bug you can fix. It's a core property of the LLM. You don't remove it, you just manage it. Then there's the hallucination issue on the left. If the retrieval layer grabs the wrong chunk, the LLM will generate an answer faithfully based on that garbage. It's not the LLM failing, it's the retrieval layer failing. In classic system design, things either work or they don't. A load balancer either routes your request or it drops it. In RAG, there's a dangerous third state. The system works, but it's confidently wrong. The LLM returns an answer. The answer is false. The user trusts it. No error was thrown. No exception was caught. This is the silent failure mode that classic system design never prepared you for. Move to the center of the diagram. The context window isn't a soft guideline you can stretch. It's a hard engineering limit that forces you to build a selection architecture. You simply cannot pass all 10,000 documents. Because of this, every component becomes linked. That's why you see additive latency. You can't optimize the LLM in isolation because it's part of a sequential chain that includes embedding and search. Finally, check the cost column on the right. Bad retrieval isn't just a quality problem anymore. It's a direct financial hit. Every irrelevant chunk you pull adds tokens to the bill, and you pay for every single one. Quality and cost are locked together. Now that you understand why these constraints make your job harder, we need to solve the biggest one. How do you actually find those 3 paragraphs in a haystack of 10,000? That's what we are tackling next. On the top half of your screen, you've got the ingestion pipeline. This is where your raw data starts its journey. Documents in PDF, Markdown, or HTML formats enter the system and get chopped up via recursive splitting. You're aiming for roughly 500 tokens per chunk, with a 50 token overlap to ensure you don't lose context at the edges. Next, an embedding model maps each chunk into a 1536 dimension vector. These vectors go into a vector database like Pinecone or Qdrant, while the original text and its metadata like source and page numbers sit in a separate metadata store. Now, follow the path to the online query pipeline at the bottom. When a user asks a question, the same embedding model turns that query into a vector so it can speak the same language as your database. The system performs a similarity search and pulls the top 10 most relevant chunks, but here's the pattern interrupt. That 10:3 ratio isn't random. You pull 10 to give your re-ranker enough high quality material to work with, but you only send 3 to the LLM. This respects your context budget and keeps the LLM focused by cutting out the noise. If you mention this ratio in an interview, you're signaling that you've actually built this in production. Once the re-ranker scores those 10 chunks for relevance, you assemble the top 3 into the context window alongside the original user query. The LLM then generates a response, streaming it back to the user with numbered citations pulled straight from your metadata. It seems clean and logical, right? But what happens when the user asks a question that doesn't quite match the documents, or the retrieval fails to find the right answer? That's where the system starts to break, and that's exactly where we're going next. Look at the ingestion decisions shown here on the left. Notion AI doesn't just use fixed token counts for chunking that destroys semantic units. Instead, it uses block type chunking. A heading stays with its content and a table row stays with its headers. This keeps the data meaningful. They even use a proprietary embedding model fine-tuned specifically on Notion's document structure. It's significantly more precise than a general purpose model because it actually understands how your documents are organized. If this is the production architecture detail you want to walk into interviews with, subscribe. Every other Wednesday we drop one Gen AI system design. Move to the center to see that hybrid retrieval block. It combines dense vector search with BM25 keyword matching. Vectors are great for meaning, but keywords are vital for catching exact product names, version numbers, or specific identifiers that vectors might miss. Once the system has its top 10 results, a cross-encoder re-ranker kicks in. It scores each chunk against the query to find the best 3. Think of it this way, vectors measure the angle, but re-rankers measure the actual meaning. Here's a trick that saves the whole system. Those citations in the final answer aren't triggering a second search. They're block identifiers attached at the start, back when the document was first ingested. They travel with the data through every single step. If you strip that metadata early, you'd be forced to run a second retrieval pass for every single click. By keeping it attached, the citation is essentially free, with an 8000 token context window and a P99 latency target of under 3 seconds. It's a tight machine. But even with this level of engineering, there's still a massive bottleneck that can kill your user experience. We'll cover that in our final scene. You're in the final stretch of your interview. Look at the opening move shown here on the left. You need to name the 2 pipeline split, offline ingestion and online query, within the first 30 seconds. This signals production literacy before the interviewer even asks a follow-up. Drive the conversation into retrieval quality immediately. Tell them my biggest concern is precision. The LLM is only as good as the context I put in front of it. I want to talk about retrieval depth and re-ranking before we touch the generation step. In classic system design, the interviewer's follow-up is usually about scaling traffic. In GenAI, the hardest question is about quality. How do you know the system is giving correct answers? Most candidates crumble here. The engineers who get the offer mention an evaluation harness, LLM as judge, scoring, and chunk level retrieval logging. That's the next level of the interview. And it's exactly what we'll cover in the next video. Look at the trade-off column in the center. Your interviewer will push you on 3 things. First, why not pass all documents? You answer, context limits, latency, cost, and noise. Second, why a re-ranker? Explain that vectors measure angle, while re-rankers measure true relevance. They are different tools for different jobs. Finally, how do you handle updates? Describe async re-ingestion triggered by update events and chunk level invalidation in your vector store. See the before and after at the bottom. Before this video, designing a system probably felt like calling an API and dumping documents in. Now you know the 2 pipelines, the 5 constraints, and the precision decisions that decide if your system gives the right answer or just a confident wrong one. That distinction is what gets you the offer. If this deep dive helped you, hit subscribe. We drop one new Gen AI system design every other Wednesday. Click the link in the description to watch the next video where we'll design an AI agent. We'll cover the tools, memory, and the planning loop that lets an agent decide when to use your system and when it needs to search the web instead.